through my experience, I'm going to show you 3 exercises that really helped me widen and kind of give me a bigger, thicker back. So the first exercise we're going to go over is a narrow grip pull down. So get yourself set in. Big thing is, a lot of people you'll see, like on the negative part of this, mistakes is you'll see them kind of bring themselves up in and then kind of lean back. So in doing that, they're bringing themselves to like a seated position, because this is just basically a seated row. I want the angle always up. So I'm going to keep my chest up, pointed to the ceiling. Think elbows, like my hands are just hooks. I'm just hooked into this bar and I'm driving my elbow down. And you see, I'm not trying to swing my torso. I'm not trying to do the weight. When you get into that point, that basically is telling you that the weight's too heavy and you need to basically lower the weight, because you're using momentum to get it going. So you should be basically stagnant in your torso, pulling this down and holding. Full stretch up, holding. As you can tell, when I bring this down, my chest is coming. I'm trying to push my chest further to the ceiling. So bringing this down, I'm popping my chest up. So like I said, a lot of people, they'll lean back and do this, or they'll concave their chest and they'll do this. Either one is not basically the best for your back. You always want that full range. So what I mean by full range is, you want this, so I'm getting a complete stretch from armpit to armpit, all the way down to my hips. And then everything's staying here, and I'm trying to push my chest through as I'm bringing my elbows down. So chest comes up, and everything comes down. And look at the travel of my elbow. So my elbow comes all the way down towards my hip, flex, all the way up, full stretch. Down, up. And you can tell my chest is staying up that whole time. All right, so for sets and reps on that, if you're warming up with it, go like 12, 15. If it's mid-session, you would bring that on down to like 8 to 10. But I stress, don't go to the point where you're doing weight that you're swinging. You gotta control your torso. So everything's gotta be nice and stagnant, nice and stiff. And you're really trying to push that chest up as you drive that elbow down and get that full squeeze, and test yourself. Dorian said on one of his posts lately, test yourself, and you can basically see if it's a weight that you can control. So what he means by that is, when you're in it, bring it down and hold. And if you can't hold that weight there, that's telling you right off the get that you're using momentum to bring it down. So that is a big indicator that it's basically showing you, if you can't bring that weight down and you can't hold it down there and have a squeeze and nice and slow on the way up, you're not controlling the weight, you're using momentum, which isn't, you're not getting the full optimal of the range of motion, and you're not basically utilizing that rep range to build the muscle, to put it under the most stress. So right there, first indicator, lower the weight. Big thing that I kind of stress with people, if you're looking to increase the size of your back, is get something that's gonna really elongate that stretch. So longer range of motion, and really it all comes down to elbow drive. If you're looking for upper back, you really want that elbow drive to be basically in this direction, so you're basically squeezing the upper back. If you're looking for the lat, you want the elbow drive to be coming down, so you're squeezing the lat down. So that is your narrow grip pull down. We're moving on to exercise number 2. For me, all the way throughout my career, amateur into pros, one-arm rows was a staple in pretty much most of my back workouts. And it came down to a lot of people when they do it, if you're using a bench, that's one big mistake a lot of people do, is when they do a bench, you'll notice that they say this is straight down, they're coming up to the elbow right here, like everything's in nice and tight and everything's straight. I like using the dumbbell rack personally. So bring yourself all the way back, feet in like a tripod kind of thing. Let the dumbbell dangle. So right away, you're in a stretched position, okay? So, and think elbow drive. Don't think about where the weight's going, because the weight should realistically hit you out around the hip. So up, and as you come up, chest comes up. So the big thing is, yes, it does look like you're swinging, but you want to end up in that stretch in between every single rep. So all the way down to the stretch, all the way up. Control the weight. Like you shouldn't just up and just let it drop. So it's basically all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up. And as you start going through, you're really going to notice that you're going to feel that blood flow, that pumps really start from armpit all the way through to mid-back. Just in doing it in that technique, you're giving yourself that long range. A lot of people, when they do, even off of here, you'll see them do like the staggered stance, and they're pulling it up in here, and you're almost doing like a bicep curl. You're doing like a drag curl. So it's all up in. You need it down, like you need your lat down and up, down and up. Like you almost, like if you have a mirror, you can see that your lat's down. Your lat's fully engaged, to full stretched out, and then you're pulling back with that elbow. Instead of up in here, like lat's not engaged at all. It's all arm, all bicep. And that's why you see a lot of guys with really, really good biceps and really shitty backs. So let your back do all the work. And an exercise like this, you can get down to the 8 to 10 range. Realistically, if you want to do like 4 sets, but do like a big drop set on one of them. So basically, have a warm up or a feeder set, 3 working sets of 8 to 10, and then that last set, do 2 drops. So say you're up to 100 at your last, you're gonna drop it down to 70, and you're gonna drop it down to 50. But each one, you're gonna go to complete and utter failure before you drop to that next one. So 100 to failure, 70 to failure, 50 to failure. And you'll notice that your pump is gonna increase, and it's gonna help that, basically, that mind-muscle connection when you go to your next exercise after that. But for me personally, one-arm rows was one of those exercises that I felt a lot. And it helped me, in my mind, it helped me build the back that I have today. So it's very, in a program, if you're putting it down, it's one of those ones you put a star beside it because it's one of your favorite ones. So I would definitely utilize this exercise. Just remember, it's always range of motion. You're popping that chest up. You're driving with the elbow. You think everything with back is elbow. I've mentioned this in a post previously. Like if I unfortunately lost from elbow to hand, I lost that in an accident, or I was born with a deficiency or something, this was gone. And I can only strap the weight to basically my humerus. How would I basically build my back? And the only way to do that is shoulder. So basically my shoulder has to be the one to stretch and move my back. And if the weight, if I did have an elbow joint, then all of a sudden it extends to my elbow. I'm driving that. So shoulder all the way out, you get that full stretch, and now shoulder back, elbow drive. Those are the 2 joints that control the back, shoulder and elbow. And it all, like this, here to here is just a hook. This is how you're hooking into the weight. From your forearm, your hand, this is just how you're holding the weight. It has nothing to do where the weight is going, or nothing to do with the back. So a lot of people get confused when they do this. They grab on and everything's up nice and tight, and it's all arm, and they're squeezing real tight. You got to think elbow, shoulder. So shoulder starts the movement, elbow finishes the movement, and then it's control all the way back out, extend that shoulder. Shoulder starts the movement, elbow finishes the movement. So it's all one. So the shoulder has to move back and the elbow finishes it off. So that's why I tell people when you start doing this, you're using your body momentum to get the shoulder to move and then help the elbow finish. So it's more of a waste of your time than it helping you build a better back. So that is exercise number 2. So this is gonna be an underhand grip lat pull down. So you want to go a little bit wider, almost shoulder width, a little bit wider than that, and really emphasize that elbow drive down to the hip. So same thing with the narrow grip. You're going to be using those underhand grips, and everything is going to stay upward angle. So when you come up, you want that full stretch, and you're bringing it down into basically full squeeze. Up, squeeze, up, squeeze. So the handles I'm using today are basically a unilateral grip. So if you have a machine that has like unilateral neutral grips, this bar has that ability to do that. A lot of people, I understand, are not going to have this bar. So you can use a wide lat pull down, but have an underhand grip. You can use an easy curl bar and have an underhand grip. Excuse me, there's lots of variations that you can do with this. But with this, you have the ability of changing from a neutral at the top and then really kind of twisting that for underhand. Or you can keep it underhand like this. The big thing is, same as always when it comes to lat pull down, everyone wants to drop that pin, make it heavier, and they start using their torso to do this, which is great if you just want to lift heavy weights. But as I stressed many times, in bodybuilding, it's not about what you're lifting, it's about how much stress you're putting on the muscle. So you want that full stretch, you want that full squeeze, you want that longer range of motion. In doing that and using your momentum, A, you're not controlling the weight, B, you're not putting the stress on the muscle, and you're shortening your range of motion because you're changing your body angle. So instead of staying upright and having the full stretch and full squeeze, what I'm doing is I'm using my body to pull it down to here, and I just shortened. Like realistically, I'm only doing this. And then I'm letting my body come back up. Like, I don't even control anything until I hit here. And then it's pull. So I'm using everything instead of all the way up here and all the way down and all the way up, I'm controlling. So it's, as you can tell, you're taking at least 60 to 70% of that whole range of motion out of the window when you start to do this whole torso torque thing. Just don't do that. If you want to get a better physique, lift what you can lift. Who cares about everybody else? Like, and that's a massive mistake that a lot of people do. It doesn't matter what you're lifting. It doesn't. No judge is going to stop you on stage and be like, wait a minute, what did you lift to build that physique? It doesn't exist. In bodybuilding, nobody cares. The strength will come, and you will start lifting heavier weights. But it takes time. It takes time to build that strength. But you got to do it in a way that you're putting the most stress on the muscle to get a bigger muscle, not because you're just lifting heavy crap. Because all you're going to do is you're going to keep doing it with that technique. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to your body's just going to stop because you're putting too much stress on the joints, and then you're going to have to basically become a beginner again, go all the way back, lift lighter weights. Like it's a never-ending process. And then you're going to start doing the torso torque thing, and you're going to injure yourself again. So if you learn the technique right the first way, you're going to build and have a longer career. So just everything stay up and tall and down, up, down. Something like this, again, you can get down to that 10 to 12 rep range. You're going to do 3 to 4 sets of this. Have that 1 feeder set that you can kind of get used to it, get your technique right, get your torso right, and then have 3 hard working sets. So that is it for today's guys. And the big thing I stressed with today is range of motion and getting that full stretch, because the back is something that you can't see your back. Like you don't see chest, you can see arms, you can see legs, you can see, like you can visibly see the range of motion. Back you can't. You have to feel it. So you have to feel that full stretch. You have to feel that full squeeze. You have to feel the control of the weight on the muscle. So keep with that in mind when you're doing your back exercises, and you will get a bigger back.